I
thought she said something different for a second.
you fucking bolts.
I am not a threat.
Best part of the whole show.
Come on, get behind me, pretty face.
Oh, she likes him.
Yeah, that's great. These two would be awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, he needs to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Damn straight.
We're the wrong color blue. Fuck your fan service. I'm from the greatest Star Wars movie of all time.
You ain't no Boba Fett, bitch. Welcome back, everyone, to another reaction. It is the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett. I'm Nicholas, joined here by my buddy Mike. What's up, Mike?
What's going on?
Not much. I guess we're here to wrap this series up, or wrap the season up. We don't really know how that's going to go.
I just thought it was funny that the first couple episodes were like, well, this is very like based in the characters and simple storytelling, and then we got 4 or 5 episodes in and we went into total fan service mode.
Complete.
Which is okay too, I guess, but I'm sure I'm gonna, no matter what I say, there's gonna be somebody that's very, very upset. And no, I haven't watched I've watched the first season of Clone Wars, okay?
It's more than
I don't care. I don't care. It's cool, but I don't care if you think that my opinions are good or bad. I just don't care. Anyway, go on.
You had to get that out there. I feel you. Like, yeah, I mean, there's always, you know, it's been said the worst thing about Star Wars is its fans. And that's because it's kind of like been around long enough, and the way human belief goes, it's like a kind of a lowercase r religion, whereas you've got different denominations of thought about what is right and what purity tests there are and all this crap. And I'm kind of done with it.
My exact comment was, let's get this shit show over with. But that may not be entirely fair.
3, 2, 1, go.
I hope they don't kill the guy that talks with his hands.
With his hands? The assistant, mayor's assistant. Cad Bane. And despite not knowing Cad Bane, he is very menacing. They did it right, apparently. You know, like...
The voice is really cool.
Yeah, the voice is great. Oh, Cad's back.
We destroyed them ourselves.
No.
Does Fett know that? He has no idea. He thinks they were killed by Nikto speedbikers.
Oh.
We left evidence behind to encourage such a conclusion.
Manipulated.
But stupid. They're underestimating Boba Fett.
Right. Apparently it's the same voice actor for Bane as in the Clone Wars.
It's great.
It's really good. In the name of honor, all right. There's no way, like, Luke is coming here, right? No, it is. It's R2. You know what he chose?
So why did the rebellion keep sending all those people to die if they didn't need them to fly the ships?
Yeah, he's got the armor on. Woo!
So an X-Wing with hyperspace and no pilot could have destroyed all the Imperial ships. This is all canon now.
Right. Hyperspeed ramming or whatever they're calling it now.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Where's the Rancor?
I'm pretty sure the droid is Matt Berry, the comedian we talked about.
I thought I smelled something.
All these nose jokes.
You mean the one that massacred your Tuscan family and blamed it on a speed bike gang?
I like Bane's voice, but it just sounds like pure ADR. It doesn't sound like he's standing there.
No, that's what I thought of the first episode too, yeah. But it did sound really good.
You're going soft in your old age.
That's why we have Viagra.
exemplary stratagem. If I may be so bold as to offer
This guy.
additional counsel.
I wonder how much you would pay for the Twi'lek.
Understood. Many pardons. I should never have interjected.
Come in, boss. Come in.
The Balchinians.
Oh, you don't want to give him the excuse to fuck you all up. Oh,
Oh,
right in the shoulder.
that hurt.
Yeah. We'll go left or right instead of backwards. I don't know.
Oh.
Ah, no Wilhelm scream? Come on.
He was already dead. He couldn't scream.
Oh, like half the time they use it, the person's already dead.
They were gonna Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
I specialize in civic council negotiations.
Send him out there for a distraction to die real quick.
Genuflecting or even groveling if needs be, which would save you from any potential bruising of ego.
But you do.
I'll go before I change my mind.
He's gonna get out there and be
He's gonna
like,
get
go
shot.
fuck yourself. Yeah.
Salutations! I am unarmed!
Read it to me, tailhead.
Tailhead. All right, fish face.
I,
What did he write?
Boba Fett, do present the following offer.
Yeah, you're gonna say he didn't have a chance to read it before he went out there.
Nothing. You will leave this planet and your spice trade flourish with flowered
He's
fields
dead.
fertilized with the bodies of your dead.
Oh, come on. It's been the best way for him to go. Yeah. Oh. All right, who's showing up? Is it Grogu? Here we go. Pew, 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 pew. The
Sure
Power
looked like-
Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! And yes, the Ninja Turtles were cool, but the Power Rangers suck. I want to get a jump on that thing. Damn, it's huge. Holy shit. They're slow, just move.
Why aren't you firing?
Right, like why'd you wait until their shields went up? Like this is... Honestly, man, this might be the worst action scene in all of Star Wars. Yeah, now you're talking. Oh, that doesn't even work.
Oh,
Holy
shit.
shit. Uh-oh.
Only Grogu can get through.
Yeah, Grogu's gonna have to come out here and crush him or something. Rancor. That's what he's going to get right now.
And then Grogu's gonna show up.
Right.
So the story hasn't really progressed in about 3 episodes.
That's
We're
correct.
still where we were
Yeah.
3 episodes ago.
I mean, this is almost stupid. They're all stupid. They know it doesn't work. Why would he spin? You know what a metal ball does in sand? It spins.
Go faster, you bucket of bolts!
That's
I
great.
thought she said something different for a second.
You fucking bolts.
That would be awesome.
That X-Wing would be handy from the air right now.
Yeah, R2.
R2 could just fucking
Since you're
annihilate-
actually the pilot, all this time we didn't know R2 was actually the pilot. Could have just hyperspaced an X-Wing with no pilot straight through the Death Star. Hell,
Right.
if that didn't work, send 10 more.
Right.
It's like the only
Hey,
consistent thing in Star
they
Wars
meet
is the
again.
inconsistency.
Right. Aww.
Aw.
want to do some of your wavy hand thing?
Can you? Yeah.
You gotta just see Mando in trouble, and then he acts on it.
But he probably was safer with Luke than he is here, though.
Right. Oh, you cannot kill her. She's the coolest person in this whole show. Yeah, here comes the Rancor. Yeah. Yeah. And he's still shooting at it as if that's going to do something. There you go, one arm at a time. All right, Grogu, yep. I was gonna say, he's gonna have to do something. Dad's in trouble. Here we go. Crush. What?
Do it.
Yeah, that was cool.
I think if we felt like our main characters were actually in danger of dying, then this might be less boring.
Right.
But there's no danger of any of them dying that matter.
I mean, we called everything that was going to happen before it happened. It's so obvious.
This whole entire episode has been just action. That's the most boring thing to me. That's like DC DC movies or
Batman versus
like,
Superman.
Oh God.
Yeah, in the action, you're right with the threat of the main characters. You got to keep character development going during action. Like,
right.
You can't just have a 42-minute action scene.
Especially when you know that they're gonna keep milking this, so Boba Fett's not gonna die, the Mandalorian's not gonna die.
Right.
Unless they really, thus Disney grew some giant
Balchinians.
You know, Balchinians. The Mandalorian this whole time is Grogu. He's the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Returning back to the first Mandalorian, the force-wielding, force-powerful Mandalorian.
Right. Or that he's sort of the eventual hero of the whole thing.
Yeah, because we learned that a Mandalorian isn't necessarily a certain species. It's anybody adopted into the creed.
I am not a threat.
Best part of the whole
Come
show.
on, get behind me, pretty face.
Oh, she likes him.
Yeah, that's great. These two would be awesome.
That's awesome.
Those two steal the show. They really do.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the other
They're
guy's
both
a comedian
comedians.
too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's cool. Little throwback there. Oh, here comes Cad.
All right.
Kind of forgot about Cad.
Zero character development in this show,
In
which
this
is what
episode.
matters right now. I'm sorry, but that's what matters right now, because not everybody's seen every cartoon that ever came out. He's the new General Grievous, Count Dooku.
Anyway, yep. Darth Maul.
Oh God, the worst of all of them. No character development whatsoever.
And what made it worse is he had so much potential because he did look like badass.
He was great. He was great. The fight scene is awesome, but who is he fighting? No one knows. Just some bad guy.
He's a good shot, so he might be able to shoot right fucking between.
Or a special gun that...
Right, can pierce it.
Special bullet or whatever. Who knows?
Literally Western. Yeah, he got him right in the shoulder. Dude, if they kill off Cad Bane right now, he
can't die,
yeah. Nice. Yes.
No, it was Boba. Where'd that come from?
Look out.
Yeah, he needs to die.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes. Damn straight.
You were the wrong color blue! Fuck your fan service. I'm from the greatest Star Wars movie of all time.
You ain't no Boba Fett, bitch. I can't wait to see everybody just pissed off about that. Saying this whole series sucks because they killed Cad Bane. Fucking King Kong. Callback.
I remember using VHS and cassette on my mom's stereo to make audio clips from the movies.
Right. Now Mando's gonna write them, all right. Well, that didn't work.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God, that would hurt so much. You'd be unconscious, dude.
Don't worry. worry, kid. Your old man's crafty.
Nope. Oh my God, these things got Beskar.
Spoke too soon.
I'm gonna have an Infinity War moment here. Don't kill them, God damn it. They're the best characters.
Don't worry, kid.
Oh, here we go. He's gonna calm them down. That is so cute. That is so. Aw, he likes them.
It looks great. It looks almost like the original puppet, even though I'm sure that's all CG, but
Like
it
that's
looks...
CG, but the close-up is probably the puppet.
Okay, well, it looks great either way.
Oh no, Mayor.
Oh,
Oh, the Snell guy got choked up.
that's what you get for half your body being a neck.
That's right. She wasn't around the whole time. She went there to take them out.
My question is, if he has the Darksaber, why does he care what they say the rules are?
Just like there's different Mandalorians with different beliefs, it's the same with the Darksaber. There isn't an actual set rule. Different people believe different things about that.
Right.
There's Mando leaving with Grogu in the little spot. I want to see him in that little spot. Yeah! There he is! We called it. Everybody called it. Fucker.
All right, but this is the last time.
Oh, he wants to go fast. Great. Here we go.
So that was the Mandalorian music, but they were singing Boba Fett.
Ah!
I only got shot in the shoulder, man.
He's gonna mod him up.
Yeah.
The show has been all
just,
over the place, man.
It just is what it is. It's like they're just trying to make as much money from this as possible, and that's clear. And that's kind of what Star Wars has always been.
My love for Star Wars isn't based on needing to be up to date with every meme and every plot point that's been said and everything. You know what I mean? It's not that at all. It's beyond that. So I don't know.
Well, if we go back to 97, I had read every novel, I think literally every novel that had come out that was Star Wars.
Right.
And seen every movie, which was only, 3?
Right.
And then we went to Phantom Menace, and that was the beginning of like my disillusionment with Star Wars that continues to this day. So
it's very succinct. Like,
there was a lot of good potential for the prequels, and there are things that it did right. But there's just so much like, okay, we already know where this is going.
Right.
What are we doing? You know.
at least the prequels had a game plan, and it stuck to it and tried to tell that. And the sequels were literally a corporate conglomerate nonsense.
The prequels had a plot. It got distracted a lot, but it still had an overall plot.
Right.
That's true. And they didn't change things at the beginning of the third movie just because.
Right, they didn't like what happened in the last director on the previous one. Right, no, they at least had a plan and stuck with it, whether you liked it or not. You know, that's the base. They had the basics covered. Anyway, I hate making these intros too long, so maybe we should just get into it. As far as Book of Boba Fett, we'll ran at the end if you all want to see that. Probably not. According to the statistics, nobody sticks around to the end anyway, so that's where we'll vent.
We just want you 30 seconds.
But with this, I'm just hoping they tie up some of these loose ends, at least the ones being brought up in Boba Fett about the Pike Syndicate and what's going on with Boba Fett claiming the throne or whatever, and trying to be a good Boba Fett versus a bad Boba Fett. I don't know. It seems like the last 2 episodes, which were the fan service episodes, which I enjoyed, obviously, but they just didn't. They didn't really add anything to what's happening in Boba Fett. I mean, literally one line at episode 4 was like, we need to get more muscle. And they spent 2 episods, which could have been solved in a few sentences. And then they, because we already know these connections. But anyway, that being said, I enjoyed seeing Luke again. You know, that's my era and gave me goosebumps, and the CG looked good and everything. So yeah, sure, that's great. But once again, let's, focus on Boba Fett, hopefully, this episode. So
But he's gonna ride a Rancor, and that's more important than his character development. So
right, they planted that seed. They wouldn't bring in Machete without like planting, you know. So.
I feel like such a cynic, but it's just like it is what it is. It's fun, I guess. You know, it is fun, but like I would never bother to watch this again. Like there's no reason, you know.
Sure.
I don't know. Sorry.
But
hey.
But I mean, it's almost like like they never had a plan to do a Boba Fett series, and then when they had him show up, because Mandalorian, I think has been consecutively good, like all 16 episodes. It's solid. It's really solid, and it's almost like when they introduced Boba Fett and teased him, and then decided to, well, let's see what happens with this when we bring him back in the second season, and they did, and people really reacted to it. It's almost like at that moment they decided to be like, let's throw together a fucking Boba Fett series, because this is all, it's like the sequels. It's all over the damn place.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
a
third of it was this deep character development. It was slow pace, which I grounded and I really enjoyed. And then the next third was like fan service, and the ending was just a very discombobulated action scene that had no sense of threat to it whatsoever.
I do think, I mean, maybe it's just because, like I said, we know that they want to keep these characters going.
Right.
So that it just didn't feel like there was any danger of anything actually happening. And just the 40 minutes of action in that circumstance with no, like, I don't know, it's just boring to me, but I mean, it's fun. It still feels like Star Wars for the most part. It's I guess I've just been very disappointed with where this whole thing has gone, like I said, for 20 years.
Right.
As opposed to what I read about in novels when I was a kid. They took the movies and expanded them in novels and ways that were focused on the characters that we already knew, and you know, so it feels very much like they're trying to build a big universe like Marvel and do the Marvel thing,
right?
And that some executive at Disney was like, we're gonna be as big as Marvel, and here's how we're gonna expand Star Wars. And everybody's like, oh, okay, because that's who pays their checks.
Right.
And that was just it. I mean,
yeah, that's probably my least favorite episode. And ironically, my least favorite episode in season 2 of Mandalorian was also directed by Robert Rodriguez. I don't know. It's like this is all over the place. Let's try to give it to an experienced director to see if they can.
It seemed like he
patch it together.
It seemed like he did this whole show.
He had like 3 episodes, I think, in the show.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, all over the place for sure. That doesn't even begin to say it. It's like.
And I like Robert Rodriguez. I just think they almost like give him the problematic episodes to try to solve what they lacked in writing or whatever. And Jon Favreau wrote all these, I believe. I don't know. I just felt like it was patchwork, and it was required to fit too many. Like, whereas the Mandalorian, it was almost like a blank slate. There was no prerequisites that he really had to check all these boxes to make sure he could just tell the story and let it develop more naturally or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope Obi-Wan doesn't suffer from this, man. It makes me worried about Obi-Wan.
Yeah, at least there's a character there that's had more growth than, I mean, because even Boba Fett didn't ever have much character until the prequels. Yeah. And at least then we saw his backstory.
Right.
And that changes everything. I mean, yeah. But at least with Obi-Wan, it's an actor that's, you know, in a role that makes sense, I guess. But, I mean, he's going to be obviously a lot older than he was in Phantom Menace. And so that's supposed to be, what, 20, 25? Or no, I guess this show, the Obi-Wan show should be
sometime in
between,
the 20 to 30 years between,
right.
3 and 4. I actually don't know exactly how many years there. I sent you a link the other day about... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Luke and Leia are supposed to be 19 in A New Hope. Okay. So they're born at the very end of the third movie.
So 19 years, yeah.
So Return of the Jedi is like 25 years, I think. So okay. New Hope is like something like that.
Yeah, 19 to 20 years.
So Boba Fett is 10 during the Clone Wars, maybe 12.
Right.
And now he's 25 years later, he's like 60. But hey.
It's the way it worked out with the actor, right? And I like Morrison. I think he fills the role just fine.
He really is good. He's
good.
The most compelling actor in this, except like you said, the comedians that are just funny.
Right, absolutely. I sent you a link the other day about this new channel I found called So Uncivilized. He's only got 7 videos, and it's all Star Wars related so far anyway, and it's really good, kind of short essays, video essays on different aspects.
Was it the anti-sequel?
Yeah, that's his newest one.
I watched that.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
And I actually ended up watching his videos in reverse order. I've watched them all now, but I've been watching them backwards. And the one that The Importance of Luke Skywalker, the one right before that episode, that video is really good too. And I only hesitated and didn't watch them in direct order because his earlier ones are clearly about the prequels a little bit. And so, I didn't relate to those as much as other people did because the original trilogy was mine. So I kind of watched the ones to see what he said about the ones that I relate to first, so I could try to understand where he's coming from when he goes back and talks about the prequel trilogy.
It seems
so
like
I could relate more.
When he's talking about the sequels, it seemed like he was defending the prequels against them, which is fair enough.
He was basically ultimately talking about how, regardless of how you feel about the original trilogy or the prequels, they are George Lucas's vision. Right. And that's distinct from the sequels. That's the big line he draws in the sand. And to better understand...
And George Lucas is great, or was great, but he's made a lot of garbage too. It's just,
sure. Because you're a name doesn't mean you're awesome at everything you do, right?
But I think that he does understand story and he understands mythology.
Right.
I think he gets too hung up in details or something. Like that 4th Indiana Jones movie
should never have been made.
Worse than all the worst things about the prequels and the sequels combined couldn't be as bad as that 4th Indiana Jones movie's absolute garbage. Like,
do you ever see the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, the TV show
with Bruce Campbell or whatever?
No, I don't think that was Bruce Campbell.
There was Young Indiana Jones, and then there was Briscoe County Jr.
Oh no!
So I'm thinking of something different. But that was.
I actually don't know who the actor was in Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, but I haven't seen them since they came out in like '96 or whatever, '97 or something like that. It was like a testing grounds for special effects to see if he was ready to do the special edition and therefore the prequels. And I remember it being pretty good because it kind of fleshed out. It was kind of like Mandalorian in a way, where you're around Indiana Jones when he's like, 18, 19, 20, 22, in that era, and each episode's kind of serialized. Each episode's a different kind of, adventure or whatever, kind of like Mandalorian in a way. It's old school TV in a way.
They picked up on the relationship with the father.
Right.
That was Sean Connery, and they sort of went from there, I think.
Right. And I remember it being good. I don't know why I brought that up, but...
Indiana was the dog.
So you can do prequels, and it can work if you do it right, I suppose. Or
Right.
maybe it sucks. I haven't seen it since, so I don't know. So don't flame me on that too much. But poor
Well,
Cad
there's
Bane. That's all I gotta say. Poor Cad Bane and his followers.
Murdered.
You know, I guess I did like what little
He
I
already
got to
had
know
his
about the
day.
character. Right, he's already had his day, right, and so they used him for a story point in this one, which is fine. I wonder how everybody's going to react to that. But
apparently Cobb Vanth and some of the other characters go back to the other shows as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not clear.
Well,
I'm about to finish the first season of Clone Wars, which I did watch most of that a year or so ago. About to finish the first season and continue from there. And I do like it enough to keep watching it. You know, I don't dislike it at all. I just, it's just that I don't think that whether a piece of literature is good or not should depend on whether you've consumed other things just for the sake of like recognizing a character.
right,
If it's for the sake of knowing the overall story, sure, like a sequel or whatever. But if it's just like, okay, I don't recognize this guy, but I can clearly tell that he's a badass.
right,
And that's all that really matters for this story.
right. That's right. Yeah, he was present. Like I said, I have not seen Clone Wars, but or know anything about Cad Bane's history about that. But the way he was presented in this show was like he was clearly a threat. Like this is somebody you need to pay attention to. Like the way he was presented, his voice, his looks, everything about him. Like so I don't. I presume they did it justice. I don't. Like I said, I don't know how much people were going to be mad about him dying, but as far as his presentation to people who did not know him, I presume they got across. He was menacing, like absolutely threat.
I think it's a problem when I'm watching this show and I'm like, I can't remember who the main hero is. Is it the Mandalorian or is it Boba Fett? It's like, I feel like detached from Empire Strikes Back, which to me, if you're going to make a Boba Fett show, it should feel like Empire Strikes Back, and it should, like...
I think Disney made a mistake when they probably went to Jon Favreau and said, well, we need more Mandalorian in Boba Fett. Because that completely took away from trying to tell we remember Boba Fett. We remember Grogu. Every Disney TV show doesn't have to have them in it. We're not going to forget. We're going to come back for season 3. Don't worry.
Right.
Like, I just felt like that completely, I don't know the right word, derailed, betrayed, trying to tell the story of Boba Fett. Like, it's almost analogous to Luke in general with the sequels. It's like, let's just forget everything in the past, and we got this new thing we want to do, and let's use what came in the past as a means to an end to tell our new story. Like, no, you need to somehow figure out a way to give every character their due. You don't need to steal from others to tell,
At least Boba Fett in the past had 0 character, and now he has some character.
Right.
As opposed to Han Solo, who had a whole character arc, and then became a stupid smuggler again.
Right.
Or Luke, who had this whole character arc and then became an evil Darth Vader kind of guy again.
Done the very things he learned not to do. He ended up, it was just stupid. It makes no sense. It's like somebody wrote those characters in the sequels without ever knowing, here's me being one of the fans that comments, like, you don't know the characters. You can't write for them if you don't know them. Like,
there's so many things that Luke did that were heroic to reject the dark side. Right. Even though he failed to listen to Obi-Wan and Yoda. He failed to detach himself from his family.
Mm-hmm.
He chose to defy them and risk everything,
right,
just to try to help them. And and even to try to help Vader, which was a bad decision. I mean, just because it succeeded doesn't mean it wasn't the wrong decision.
Right.
He got lucky.
Right.
But that's part of the point. There is redemption. There can be redemption at any point. It doesn't mean that Darth Vader wasn't evil, and it doesn't mean that Anakin Skywalker is suddenly
redeemed
blessed.
and back. Yeah,
Right, even
yeah.
though apparently he was, but in the Force, because he was back with.
Right.
But anyway, but just in terms of, you want the maybe this is a problem with longer form TV shows as opposed to films.
Right.
You want a clear character arc, and when you start having all these prequels and stuff, there was another example. Batman. Batman versus Superman. So
Right.
obviously they were starting with a new character, right? I mean, in terms of Batman's not a new character, but they're starting a new franchise. Ben Affleck is Batman now, and
Right.
it's this new idea of what Batman is, and I'm okay with that. You know, I love Frank Miller. I love the darker ideas of Batman and stuff like that. That's
Right.
fine. But they essentially threw away everything about his character and went back to 10-year-old Batman being fucking angry.
Right.
Like, and that was it. And he liked to kill people and torture people. Like, that's not Batman. That's not what Batman is about.
Right.
And just because it looks cool to watch, it becomes extremely boring when you realize that everything you love about this character is now just, he's just a guy that tortures people. That's it. Now, if he were the comedian in Watchmen, that's a whole different story, because his character is someone who is evil. He is someone who enjoys suffering because he despairs of his own existence. Like, he hates himself. He hates everything that he is. Like, he's a horrible person. Okay? And he actually does have character development from the place of being the worst person in the world,
Mhm.
to being still this horrible murdering person, but he knows that he's evil. And that sounds like, why does that matter? But there's all this depth of in the middle, you know.
Right.
And he had a daughter. The whole point of the thing, this out of evil came good. He had a daughter who was a, unique human. Like, all humans are unique. That's kind of what Dr. Manhattan is trying to say. Like, that's the miracle that he can't quantify, is that every human is unique, and that if things were not the way that they are, then they would be different. So therefore, the miracle is that things are the way they are, as opposed to being different. And it's, so my point is that the comedian would be like, if Batman were evil, he would be the comedian. He would be the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And or the Joker with muscles. Like,
For sure.
and so that was just a pointless character. Like, even in the Nolan films, you had Batman, at least, even though, yeah, he was this tough, evil guy, but not evil, but tough, like, mean guy. But he didn't just torture people for the sake of it. That's just stupid. It's just, it really bothered me. So a lot of things about that movie were just bad, but
Yeah. We're here at the end of the Star
tangent,
Wars video.
sorry.
Yeah, talking
I know.
about DC, but yeah, I agree. There was just so many things that were off. I mean, Snyder's vision in general was just totally askew of all of his characters from what we came to expect or whatever. But I also think Snyder's colorblind, because his color palettes in his movies are just so desaturated. And
it's
weird.
the kind of thing that can work really well for, like, a side book or something,
Right.
like an alternate universe
Right.
story or something. But like I said, at least we saw Boba Fett become better in some ways. He's still ruthless, but he we identify with him as the good guy in this, weirdly.
Right. Yep. Well, I guess we should do final thoughts on Boba Fett here. We're at an hour and 30-minute recording for this episode, but it was an hour long, so it's not that bad. But I guess overall, it was. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I didn't miss this was happening, but it just seemed to kind of go downhill as the series went on. I've pretty much said my piece, I guess. They didn't really, for me, they didn't need to bring in Mandalorian to help the crew at the end, sure, but they didn't need to devote 2 episodes to Mandalorian. I'm going to watch season 3. It's, I don't know, that just pulled away. I've already said all this. I just pulled away from the development of Boba Fett, and it just all feels like this whole series so far was slapped together at the last second, and I don't know. I don't know if I can really pinpoint the reason why, but a lot of it was that we already said it all. That last action scene was very predictable and not. I didn't feel stressed for any of my main characters. And it's classic trope of like the shield comes out for like 22 minutes. They're fighting these battle droids with shields, and clearly they can see their shots don't do anything after the first. So it actually does a disservice to the characters, what little character you do, because it makes them look all like idiots.
Tactical
like
idiots.
They don't know anything. Like they do, not working. Maybe 10 seconds later, work.
After
like,
standing there for 15
else.
seconds watching them prepare to shoot you.
Right, and then when they actually could shoot, they didn't. Right, like it even had a close up on the damn thing's eyeball. Like you're supposed to shoot there. That's its weak spot. They just wait till it gets right up on you with no shields, and then when the shields go up, they start. It's bad writing. It's bad writing in the end.
We all expect certain things from certain conventions in film that are not realistic, but we still accept them because they're so they're everywhere. They're in every film. Like waiting to throw a punch, like a rhythm to punches.
Right.
Or there's 5 guys, they attack 1 or 2 at a time because we need to see the martial artist do his martial arts.
Right.
Now that's all things that we understand are not realistic, but we accept them. But when you see, like you're saying, this big robot come in with shields, obviously it's going to have shields. Why didn't it have fucking shields when it walked up? No one knows. It's just when things are only for dramatic effect and they don't make sense.
Right.
Like the Rise of Skywalker, like the whole fucking movie, like, oh, she needs to find this dagger, so therefore they find the dagger.
Right.
Like, no explanation. Like,
in a quicksand pit they wouldn't have got. It's just complete accident. They didn't. None of their own volition led them there. It was a complete accident.
In the whole galaxy.
Exactly. It's like the classic trope of the tower, and you got your characters, and the tower starts to fall, and the characters run in the exact direction of the tower falling instead of taking 2 steps to the side and let the tower fall. That was this whole episode. Like running from the tower fall from the same direction it's falling when you clearly just move out of the way.
Prometheus.
I didn't want to say it, but
that spaceship. Yeah.
But that's a classic trope. Like there's so many movies that do that specific thing. There's the tall, cylindrical, skinny thing that's really tall, so it falls in one direction, and you literally could take 5 steps to either side, and it would completely miss you.
You know what? I haven't seen since we went to see it in the theater, probably in high school. Scream, because I think that's what that's all about. Is how these tropes don't make any sense.
Right.
Like, pick up a weapon and attack this guy. Don't just keep running away.
There is a new Scream out, but yeah, Scream definitely addressed a lot of those.
I think. Yeah.
No, it's a movie. New movie just released.
Okay.
It's just called Scream. It's not like Scream 5 or anything. But there was some good parts about Scream. I remember that, like, for instance,
it's all about the films, right? Like,
yeah, the films. Like,
I mean, it's about like horror films in general. It's
right,
Wes
right.
Craven,
yeah, exactly.
commenting on his own shit, right?
Exactly. But it still manages to do break your expectations now and again or whatever, and not. It's like it knows the trope, so it leads you down that direction, and then there's a few times it cleverly breaks that trope and gets you, even though, because he's intentionally leading you that way because he knows that Like, for instance, in the advertise, it reminds me of in Hitchcock's Psycho. I wasn't around at the time. I've seen it, of course, but the actress who played the lead role and was in all the advertising was the famous movie star, and the whole point is that she was known to do a certain types of roles, not necessarily anything crazy scary like Psycho would be. So that Hitchcock used audiences' expectation of what they thought an actor, an actress would be and a role they would be in, and she was a really famous star. And in the first 20 minutes, they kill her,
murdered. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. That is brilliant. And Scream did the same thing with Drew Barrymore. Right?
Okay.
In all the advertisements for Scream, it's Drew Barrymore, big star. She dies in the first 5 minutes. Like, that is brilliant. That is so good. Like, that is good, clever writing.
You could argue they just did that with Cad Bane.
Well, in a way, yeah, exactly. It was bring it full circle. In a way that they, that was, and we cheered it when he died there, because it's like, we're not as a fuck you Psycho Star Wars fans, but as like was unexpected. That was counter to our expectations. We were literally just talking about all these characters we don't feel for their deaths because they're not going to die because they're going to need them. And then, like, the biggest upset in the world, they kill off fucking Cad Bane, or at least presumably there, as far as the show goes. And that was that, and the two comedians, like, were the best part of the last episode. Like, as much as I wanted to see the Rancor, it was kind of a letdown because I knew when that line was said in episode 2 that we were going to get that, because why would they mention that otherwise? You know what I mean?
And what was the point, except in a cool action scene? I mean, really, how does that? Now, I'm not against action scenes, and I'm not against cool stuff. I am only saying that when that replaces the story, that's a problem. Yeah,
it's actually I actually kind of grew a little bit off of, like, watching different reactors who. There's many reactors out there that come from different genres of film who like and the few that don't like action movies, and in the sense that that's the part they tune out, right? 'Cause a bunch of action, blah 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 happens, and they don't care because there's no character development, But that's the secret of, you're going to have an action scene. The things that happen in the scene that draw tension need to contribute to what you have learned and what you're getting ready to learn about this character in the moment, not just character development and then a bunch of gun shooting at shields and nothing. Like, that just drives me crazy. 23 minutes of shooting at a shield. Nobody learned anything. Nobody grew. It was just bad.
Die Hard is the opposite of that. He's solving problems.
Constantly.
You're learning how tough he is, and he's solving problems. He messes up, and he almost dies a bunch of times for it.
Right.
Or say Braveheart, he's observing their military tactics and growing as a tactician. He's becoming more ruthless. Oh, he's ruthless right away, but the minute they kill his wife. Right. But it's all in service of the ultimate storyline. Right, like you're saying, he's growing. You're seeing why he's so pissed off. You're seeing why he's so violent, and that this isn't just him wanting to be a soldier or something. It's like there's a reason they're doing this, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch Braveheart.
Like why? Like the Power Rangers, you call them, the mods.
Yeah.
Now that's pretty cool. Like, it's a cool idea, and they were, but they had no characters.
Right.
They just had a look.
Right. Bantha fodder.
The lead one had no character either. She just had a look.
Right.
She looks like half the girls at the bar that that was it. And then so that's a whole entire character with no and the Wookiee at least with the Wookiee, but I mean you really didn't know anything about his motivations or anything.
No.
You sort of got the idea that he's angry and a bounty hunter.
Another character that comes from, I think, Clone Wars. I think they, relied too much on fans have seen all content and would project into this versus taking the time in this to develop.
Right. But I have a hard time. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on Clone Wars because, like I said, I've only seen 1/6 of it or whatever. But I have a hard time believing that the character development is like super in depth in that either.
Well, only because you have so many episodes and you have so many seasons.
Yeah.
So just on sheer volume of time, it's all not like 150 hours of action. There has to be character development, just sheer volume of time.
Right. Like right away, I've watched, like I said, the first season, and Ahsoka is a character that's cool, but there's no hesitation, there's no conflict in her. She simply is a Jedi who wants to be a Jedi, and from what I've seen so far, there's no backstory.
Right.
I could be wrong about.
I've heard the first season's a little rough. Most first seasons of any show are rough, so maybe that's what's happened here with Boba Fett, even.
That she disagrees with Anakin, and that's it so far. Which, I mean, to be fair, Anakin was just a guy who disagreed with Obi-Wan for a long time. Like, he just.
we got to stop ranting at some point in time and just call it.
The goddamn prequels.
That's where we'll end it. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We won't rant any farther. We'll start up a separate video or something and just rant. But really appreciate it. This wraps up this season's reactions to Book Boba Fett. If you liked any of this, hit that like button, subscribe, come back for more. We're going to be doing more things. Definitely going to be watching Obi-Wan. I don't know what the next Star Wars series is out. I presume it's Obi-Wan. Definitely going to be watching that. There's other series on the channel, full reactions on Patreon. You all know the drill. I think Picard, Star Trek Picard is coming up next, and the Halo series. So those are coming up within a month of each other here soon. So I'm going to be busy editing anyway.
I'm rereading all the Tolkien to be ready for the
Lord of the Rings, we got Lord of the Rings series coming at the end of the year in September, right? So.
If there's anything I do know a lot about, it would be that. So.
All right, nice. We can actually we'll tune in for that for sure. All right, y'all. We appreciate it always. We will catch you on the next series. Peace.